A mother stole from her daughter. But this wasn't just theft. She claimed royal heritage and wore it before the entire nation. 50 years of deception, 50 years of humiliation. Elizabeth II became queen, but never received Victoria's brooch. The Queen Mother refused to surrender the jewel, breaking every rule of the crown. The scandal was buried, the truth concealed. But photographs don't lie. Every appearance with this brooch was a slap in the face to the new queen. Why would a mother commit such betrayal? What could be more important than her relationship with her own daughter? And what dark secret lies behind this jewel? The truth will prove far more devastating than you can imagine. It all began with one woman, a woman whose name became synonymous with an entire era. Queen Victoria ruled the British Empire for 63 years, and every year of her reign was marked by luxury, power, and unbreakable will. But what happened in 1897 exceeded all expectations. It was her Diamond Jubilee, 60 years on the throne. The empire celebrated, and members of the royal court sought a way to immortalize this moment. And they found it. A gift that would outlive the queen herself. A gift that would witness the dynasty's triumphs and tragedies for over a century. A brooch, but not just any brooch, a work of art created by the legendary jewelry house Garrard. Picture a scrolling pattern of leaves, every curve encrusted with diamonds. At the very heart of this design, a pearl surrounded by diamonds in cut-down settings, and above, a detachable bow, also studded with diamonds, with a pearl drop that catches the light with every movement. Garrard's craftsmen worked on this jewel for months, understanding they were creating not just a gift, but a piece of history. When Queen Victoria first saw the brooch, she was amazed. But the true moment of triumph came at a state dinner during the Jubilee celebrations. Victoria entered the hall, and the brooch on her gown sparkled brighter than all the chandeliers in Buckingham Palace. Guests froze. Photographers captured this moment for history. And then something interesting happened. Victoria made a decision that would change the fate of this jewel forever. She declared the brooch crown heritage. This meant one thing. Now the jewel would pass from monarch to monarch, from generation to generation. Victoria understood she was creating a tradition that would outlive centuries. But to understand why this brooch became so important, we need to trace its path through the years. After Victoria passed in 1901, the brooch went to Queen Alexandra, then to Queen Mary. Each of them wore the jewel at important ceremonies, but none treated it with the passion the next owner would show. 1936 became a turning point. The British monarchy was experiencing one of the most dramatic moments in its history. King Edward VIII abdicated the throne for love of a divorced American, Wallis Simpson. The throne passed to his younger brother, George VI, a man who had never prepared to be king. And beside him stood his wife, Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, who now became Queen Consort. And here we reach the main point. When the brooch passed to Elizabeth, a special connection formed between them. This wasn't just love for a beautiful jewel. The brooch became her talisman, a symbol of the new life she entered, not by choice, but with dignity and strength. Historian Hugh Roberts would later write that the Queen wore this brooch more often than any other from her vast collection of treasures. Imagine, she had an entire collection of royal jewels, tiaras with diamonds the size of cherries, necklaces worn by empresses. But she chose this brooch again and again. The next owner changed the jewel's destiny. In 1947, an event occurred that made all of Britain forget about post-war devastation. Princess Elizabeth, the eldest daughter of the King and Queen, announced her engagement to Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten. The country prepared for a wedding that would become a symbol of new hope. Photographs captured an important moment. At the official portrait session for the engagement, the Queen Mother chose precisely the Diamond Jubilee brooch. She understood the symbolism of this gesture. A jewel created for Victoria's greatest jubilee now witnessed the beginning of a new era, the continuation of the dynasty. November 20th, 1947. Westminster Abbey filled with guests, the whole world following the ceremony by radio. Princess Elizabeth walks to the altar in a gown embroidered with pearls. And on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, after the ceremony ends, the royal family waves to the jubilant crowd. And on the Queen Mother's gown, that same brooch sparkles once more. The real turning point came in 1952. King George VI passed away, and his daughter Elizabeth became queen at just 25 years old. By the rules, all jewels that were crown heritage should have immediately passed to the new monarch. The diamond jubilee brooch was no exception. And now, the truth. What happened next became one of the most intriguing stories in the chronicle of royal jewels. The brooch should have ended up in Elizabeth II's jewelry box. Should have, but didn't. The Queen Mother simply didn't hand it over, not from greed or unwillingness to follow protocol. This brooch had become part of her very being. She had worn it during the most important moments of her life, and parting with it was beyond her strength. And most astonishing, the young queen didn't demand the brooch back. Perhaps she understood what this jewel meant to her mother. Perhaps she simply didn't want to cause her pain during an already difficult time. So the brooch remained with the Queen Mother for another 50 years. A decade later, the situation hadn't changed. May 1963. The Epsom Derby, one of the most prestigious horse races in the world. The Queen Mother adored horses and never missed this event. In photographs from that day, she's captured beside the Duke of Norfolk, and on her chest, the diamond jubilee brooch sparkles once more. This became a kind of tradition. Every year when racing season arrived, the Queen Mother chose this brooch. It brought her luck, or so she believed. Her horses didn't always win, but the brooch was always with her. But that's not all. May 1991, the same Epsom Derby. Nearly 30 years had passed, and the Queen Mother still wore the same brooch. This time beside her stood her daughter, Queen Elizabeth II. An interesting detail, the Queen wore a sapphire chrysanthemum brooch, one of her favorite jewels. Two queens, two brooches, two eras captured in one photograph. The key moment came in the late 90s. The Queen Mother was approaching her 100th birthday, and every public appearance became an event. June 12, 1999. Trooping the colour, one of the most spectacular traditions of the British monarchy. In the carriage beside the Queen Mother rode Prince Edward and his fiancée, Sophie Rhys-Jones. And on the chest of the 99-year-old Queen Mother, that same brooch. Records from that time show that by this point, the brooch had become an inseparable part of her image. Journalists who had followed the royal family for decades knew if the Queen Mother appeared at an important event, she would be wearing Victoria's diamond jubilee brooch. August 4, 1999 became a special day. The Queen Mother celebrated her 99th birthday. A crowd gathered at Clarence House in London to congratulate her. She came out to the people in a soft yellow outfit, and the brooch on her chest sparkled in the sun just as brightly as it had 102 years earlier, when Queen Victoria first wore it. The most important moment was still ahead. August 4, 2001. The Queen Mother turned 101. This was her last birthday, though no one knew it then. She again came out to the crowd at Clarence House, again waved to those gathered. And again she wore that same brooch. Think about this. A jewel created for one queen at the end of the 19th century was worn by another queen at the beginning of the 21st. Between these two moments lay an entire century of wars, revolutions, technological progress. The world had changed beyond recognition. But the brooch remained. March 2002 brought sad news. The Queen Mother left this world at the age of 101. Britain mourned a woman who had lived through 2 world wars, witnessed the reigns of 5 monarchs, and had herself been queen for over 50 years. So what's the real story? After the Queen Mother passed away, the Diamond Jubilee brooch finally ended up where it should have been 50 years earlier, in Elizabeth II's jewellery box. One might have expected the Queen to hide it in the vault, as a memory of her mother too painful to wear. But the Queen did otherwise. She began wearing the brooch. Not as often as her mother, but at special moments when it mattered. Every time the brooch appeared in public, it was a message. A message about continuity, about memory, about what binds generations stronger than any words. And here a new page of this story appears. July 2010. Queen Elizabeth II makes a visit to Canada. This isn't just a diplomatic trip. It's a demonstration of the connection between Canada and the British Crown that has existed for centuries. At a dinner at the Royal York Hotel in Toronto, something remarkable happens. The Queen appears in a gown embroidered with sequins in the shape of maple leaves, the symbol of Canada. And on her chest sparkles the Diamond Jubilee brooch. The symbolism of this moment cannot be overstated. A jewel created at the peak of the British Empire's power, when Canada was part of it, now worn by the Queen of independent Canada, demonstrating respect and friendship between 2 nations. Photographers captured this moment, and the images spread around the world. People knowledgeable about royal jewels immediately recognized the brooch. They knew its history, knew how many generations of queens had worn it, and now it again served its purpose, to witness important moments in history. Let's look at the facts. 1 brooch. 5 generations of the British royal family. Over 120 years of history. From the Victorian era to the internet age, from gas lamps to smartphones, from an empire on which the sun never set to a commonwealth of equal nations. What really happened? The Diamond Jubilee brooch became more than just a jewel. It became a thread connecting past and present. Every queen who wore it added her own story to its legend. Victoria made it a symbol of her triumph. Elizabeth Bowes Lyon transformed it into a personal talisman. Elizabeth II restored its status as crown heritage, but with new meaning, as a memory of her mother and a link to the past. The brooch continues to exist, preserving in its diamonds and pearls the reflections of all those moments it witnessed. Royal weddings and coronations, horse races and state dinners, birthdays and jubilees, joy and sorrow. All of this is part of its story, a story that hasn't ended and will continue as long as the British monarchy exists. That's the whole truth. No theft, no scandal. Simply a daughter who loved her mother so deeply that she allowed her to keep the memory of life's most important moments. The brooch didn't destroy their relationship. It bound 2 generations of queens through a century of history. Elizabeth II understood that this jewel meant more to her mother than all the protocols in the world. Isn't this true royal wisdom, knowing when rules matter more than love, and when love matters more than rules? If this story touched you, hit like and click the bell. There are so many more secrets of royal jewels ahead that will take your breath away. Thank you for being with me. Until we meet again.